Anthony, back to Solanke! The birthday boy gets a birthday goal, and Dominic Solanke just can't stop finding the back of the net. Energy into their forward play. Little link up with Billy, that's nice. And now David Brooks into the box. Shoots into the back of the net, David Brooks. It was Solanke, in fact, with the link up, and David Brooks fired it across sandbar.
Good Easter Monday, Cherries Red Army, Kirk here. Hope you are well. It's match day. What a way to get started. Should we go for a game day preview? It's Bournemouth taking on Coventry City away. Not going to be an easy day today, but we're going to prepare for the game. We want you to get involved. As always, the interactive chat is open for both fans, and we've got guests from both fans to preview this game. So we've got lots to talk about. And it's going to be a fixture that's not going to be easy for the Cherries. And Coventry City are definitely chasing down those playoffs. And Bournemouth have got to find a way today to maybe get back to winning ways. Now, if you're new to Cherries Red Army, please subscribe. We're only about 7 subscribers away from 900. So please hit that subscribe button. You can very much help the channel. Also, hit the like button as well. In the next hour, lots of opportunity. Just hit that like button. That also helps this video grow between now and 3 o'clock when kickoff comes about. And you may be on your way to Coventry. You might be joining this live, or you might check it out before kickoff. If you didn't join us live, let us know your thoughts in the comments, your team lineup, your score predictions. We read every single one. So it was a cracker at Dean Court earlier on in the season. It's a great day for football today. And Bournemouth are taking on Coventry City. Let's talk about it.
Side, Jaden Anthony back onto his right foot, crosses early, that's in swinging, bang! 2-0! Steve Cook holds it up on the edge of the area. Here's Kaye again with the cross. It's over the head of Travers, and it's in! Can you believe it? Bournemouth let another lead slip from 2-0 off.
And joining me from a Cherries perspective on this match preview, it's Jon Spark. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me on again, Kirk.
Good Easter yesterday?
Yeah, pretty chill. But yeah, nice to just have the days off, to be honest.
Definitely. Now, our opposition view, thank you to our guest here. It's Neil Littlewood. He's got his own YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. A big game for you as well today. Tell us a little bit about yourself, supporting Coventry City and your YouTube channel, and what you may have covered for this fixture.
Morning, guys. First of all, thanks for having me on. Pleasure to speak to you guys. Enjoyed my trip down to Dean Court earlier on in the year, so been looking forward to today for a while. Yeah, I'm relatively new to this YouTube scene, match day vlogging. So I will be doing it today. So any Cherries fans who can't get to the game, who will want to see, hopefully from your point of view, some away end limbs, I'll make sure I capture them for you. Bumper crowd expected today, 27,000, I think, especially you guys playing your part and coming up. So yeah, really looking forward to today. It should be a hell of a game of football.
And Neil's details are in the description below. You can hit the link and I'll take you straight to his Twitter. And I'm sure from there you'll also find the YouTube channel. So check that out later. Hopefully there are away limbs. Who have we got joining us then live, the fans? We've got Chris Hubble, Cherries fan. We've got Ron the Pug. We've got the Vlogger. We've got Mark Cole. Rob is joining us from Sydney. Robert Thomas, how are you? We've also got Archie, I think, morning. How are you? Dan Shaw, he's got his score prediction in there. That's coming later. We've got Carol Toller joining us for the Cherries. Chunkmaster, not sure if any of these are Coventry City fans, but you're all welcome. We've got Roy Frampton, he's a Cherries Red Army supporter member. Evening from New Zealand, fantastic. Robin Wilcox and Cameron Meach is in there as well. Quickly, just working his way in. Neil Whedon, up the Cherries. Also joining us for this early match preview for some, evening for others. And we're going to get straight into it. Come, let's go straight to it, Neil, shall we? You went to the game. We went to the game. It was a 2-2. Great point for you in the end. There must have been limbs for you on that day. It was early back in November. Bournemouth 2, Coventry City 2.
Yeah. What a day, to be fair. I remember it being very windy, which played its part in the second half, to say the least. First half, you guys were unreal. Billing, what a player! I think I've been asked this question a couple of times. If there's one player I could take from another side and bring into Cov, I'd love a Philip Billing. I think he's the way he plays in the field is unreal. And Solanke's obviously a danger. Anthony tormented us that day as well. First half, we got in, I think it was 2-0 at half time. I think at half time saying to my mate, this could be a cricket score if they turn up second half. And then it was Jefferson Lerma, wasn't it, who got sent off, bringing down Matty Godden. And you could just feel the atmosphere changing the ground, especially in the away end. It really felt like, we could get something here. Not long afterwards, Godden knocks one in, and we've scored 12 goals in injury time this season for a reason. But one of them being, down on the south coast. But we had that sort of. It fact there was an inevitability. It felt like, from our point of view, that an equaliser was coming. Didn't expect it to come in the manner it did. Todd Kane is still trying to say that he meant it. Not in a month of Sundays did he mean that. I know he's got previous. I know he scored goals like that before, but I'm not having that he meant that. Nowhere on earth at that stage of a game that important do you think, do you know what, I'm going to have a shot from here. But either way, when it went in, just unbelievable scenes in the way end. And to be fair, I've got to give your guys your dues. We had to walk past the stands behind the goal to the left of the away fans.
Ted Matt.
And, your fans were very magnanimous on the way out, just kind of like, yeah, fair enough. You came, you saw, you got what you needed to do. And that was a massive point, because at that point in the season, we were in a bit of a bad run, and that helped us kind of get a little bit of momentum back again. And we've took points off all of the big boys this season, obviously. Done the double over Fulham, home and away, got the point away from you guys today. And hopefully that carries on today.
Yeah, I mean, John, we were very much in the driving seat in that game, 2-0 up, but we know we've been 2-0 up earlier on in the season and threw that away at home. But how that sort of unravelled in the end was a poor pass from Jack Stacey. He had two options: stick it in the stands, regroup, reposition. He instead went back to Jefferson Lerma. Jefferson Lerma, I think, at the time was playing an orthodox centre-back role. He was sort of then late to the ball. He then decided to pull a player back. Now we're sort of used to Jeff Lerma doing stuff like that, aren't we, John? But the problem was he was playing centre back and last man. That meant he went down to 10 men. Then they got back in the game, and then just like Blackpool, we threw away a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, as it's funny you're talking about how inevitable it felt Coventry were going to score. It felt kind of like that as well for me watching that despite the fact that we were just holding on as best we could, there was something about the deja vu against Blackpool that just felt as though there was going to be another goal in that game. As you're right, didn't feel like it. You didn't think it was going to come directly from a cross, but to be fair, it happened earlier on in the game where Jayden Anthony had done the same. So from a slightly different position, but it's funny actually, because I remember thinking about that game, how dominant we were, and how the unusual system that we were playing with Jefferson Lerma slid into centre back, how much that was working, and we were so on top of the match up until the red card, in which the entire thing flipped on its head, and we couldn't get out of our own third. It's funny quickly looking at the highlights and seeing some of the players that played in that game. Steve Cook started in that match with one of his very few starts for us this season, and Gavin Kilkenny came on as well, and he was somewhat at fault for allowing the cross for the first goal to come in. It was a great game for us up until it wasn't, and at which point it was a nightmare. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to produce something similar, certainly at the start of the game today. But our form doesn't line up with the kind of result that we'll be hoping to get today.
Let's bring it up to speed then, Neil. So you're currently 62 points. I think you're about 3 points off playoffs, 42 games. Your form, you won the last two, as you've said. Fulham away, that's the double over Fulham. And also that 4-2 win against Birmingham in your last fixture and 2-0 down. That sort of form worries me a bit.
It worries me a bit as well. I can't remember the last time we won 3 on a bounce. So it kind of gives you that sort of feeling that today we're going to do a cough. But to be fair, I'll be honest. I thought we were going to lose at Birmingham. I predicted the 2-0 loss. We've got 2-0 down, and I think I'm the only person in the ground that kind of thought, well, this was inevitable. But the group of players that we've got at the minute, there's a core, there's a great camaraderie between the guys, and it just seems to be that they've got this never say die attitude, and it's really showing at the minute. Like, we were poor first 40 minutes against Blues. Very poor. Conceded 2 goals from set pieces. Looked at shambles. And then, I don't think Birmingham will mind me saying this, but they were just worse than us on the day. And then we go in at half-time to all, and it's a different game. It's completely... I'm going to liken it a little bit to the game down at your place. The second you allow us to get a foothold back in that game, you're starting to create your own downfall. The other thing that got me with the game, the reverse fixture down at your place, some of Parker's substitutions that day were a bit baffling. And I remember watching him on the sideline thinking, he's trying to play out, he's trying to see this game out. And I get we're 10 men, but every chance you got to attack, you looked like you troubled us. And it felt bizarre from our point of view. But today, I think, I've touched on the bumper crowd, some good players coming into form. Jon mentioned, about some of the players that were missing and, playing in the previous game. I looked at our lineup from the game today. We had Dabo playing at centre half when he's a right back, and probably been our best player last time out. Don't know if he'll play today because he went off injured against Blues. Gus Hamer, who's been one of our best players all season, didn't play against you guys down there. So he'll be back in there today. Victor Gyökeres, who's our top goal scorer, didn't start that game, came on last sort of half an hour. So, there'll be changes from the Cov point of view today as well that will kind of strengthen our lineup in terms of, the previous game. That being said, the recruitment you guys have done is fantastic. The likes of Todd Cantwell coming in and Dembele from Posh. Great signings at this level and a lot to worry Cov fans.
1 win at home in 5 for Coventry, though I think was a 4-1 against Sheffield United. For Bournemouth, Jon, Neil just touched on it. We've got some good players. We've got a very good squad. We've got some attacking talent. We're currently winless in 3. We haven't scored a goal in 3. We've registered 3 shots on target in 270 minutes of football. And it was a non-exciting 0-0 on Friday against Middlesbrough, where an opportunity opened up with Forest losing at Luton earlier on in the day to almost put this promotion party or get it started.
Yeah, it's almost like you've got an agenda you're trying to put across here, Kirk, with those stats. I don't know whether the saying is something almost, it's not the size of the budget, it's how you use it, perhaps, is one of the best sayings we can use for Bournemouth's second half of the season. It's been very disappointing is probably the nicest way I can put it, as to the kind of performances that we've been putting in recently. To be so lacking in real attacking verve for most of the last 3 games. There was admittedly, there is definitely bright spots you can look at in the West Brom game in terms of how many attacks we were producing, but the fact that we put 0 shots on target for that whole 90 minutes was just diabolical. But it's been kind of like that the last 3 games. You've got to look at the standard of opposition as well. I mean, we did play Sheffield United, West Brom and Middlesbrough, all teams that, if they are not in the top 6, certainly should be battling away in the top 6, even for possibly automatic promotion places with the kind of squads that they've got. Having said that, as was quite rightly pointed out, we've done some fantastic business. And you look at the likes of the players we've got in Solanke, Billing, Cantwell, Lerma, Lewis Cook, Jayden Anthony, Ryan Christie, and I can go on. The fact that I can say that really says a lot about how bad we've been going forward this season, or certainly the second half of the season under Parker's system. And, we need something to change because not much happened between the last 3 games in terms of any kind of tactical tweak, in terms of any kind of real setup. There were 2 changes made for the last game, 2 or 3, but one of those was at right back. So we've, something more needs to happen for us to get out of this, this poor patch. And, we've been a little bit lucky with Nottingham Forest or Luton doing us a favour against Nottingham Forest. We're going to need more of those at this rate. And it might even be the likes of Huddersfield and Luton that catch up to us at the way things are going. So something needs to happen. And hopefully it starts in the next game against, Coventry.
Got Paul here saying, Kirk, away win overdue up the Cherries. We've also got another opposition fan having a bit of banter with Door on Tour on Twitter the other day. We are coming for you. I'm sure he didn't put that at 2:55 on Friday, but hope's been given back to Nottingham Forest with our point only. And when you saw those stats on the screen, Neil, of that game for the Cherries against Middlesbrough, that 0-0, 2 shots on target, you're banging the goals away. I mean, does that give you confidence going in at home today, where you've beaten the likes of Forest, Fulham, Sheffield United? Although some people have said to me, Neil, that Bournemouth are due to hammer a team, shall we say, and could that be today?
100% Kirk. Look, I'm a realist. As much as I'm sat here, with my Cov City hat on, sort of, looking at this as a Cov fan, I'm also a football fan, and I've watched you guys many times this season. You don't have the players you've got and go through too bad a spell. I've touched on us doing a Cov, winning the last 2 games. You guys not having a shot on target for 3 months, or that sort of bad run. Today's the day you're going to put 6 past us. That's how football works. We all know that, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case today. Hopefully not, obviously. I think what will suit us today is the fact you guys do like to play football. You like to get the ball down and knock it about a bit. And the sides that you reeled off there that we've beat at home are sides that do exactly that. The sides that we've lost to are your Hull, your Luton. Your West Broms are a little bit more direct, a little bit more less footballing, for want of a better term. Whereas, Sheffield United like to play football, Fulham like to play football, yourselves, Forest. Fair enough, Forest was under Houghton, so it was a bit different. But, even when we went to the City ground the other week, we lost 2-0, but it was an open game at times because it allowed us to play our brand of football at the same sort of time. I think more than anything, any neutral that's going to watch this game today, I expect to see a lot of good football. And look, all bad runs have to change at some point. I just hope, for my sake, it's not today.
I hope for my sake it is today, but I know what you're saying. John, what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of consistency or good comparisons between both teams. And I've spoken to other fans who says, look, those teams we have played, West Brom, Sheffield United, Borough, they're difficult teams. Actually, could Coventry suit us a little bit better today?
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly my more recent memories of playing Coventry is last season, and obviously that we did the double, and certainly going to Coventry that last year was quite early on in the season, and it was probably one of our most dominant displays of that entire year in what was a 3-0 victory. But of course, at the time, we weren't going to Coventry, we were going to Birmingham, and we performed quite well at that stadium. It's a little bit different now because obviously we'll be going to the CBS Arena. And I was just looking back, actually, I didn't realise there isn't really much modern history between Coventry and Bournemouth at all. So we'll kind of be hoping to sort of play on the form of the last year, as it were, in hoping to perform better against Coventry. But I think it is the case that one of the main reasons we did play well against Coventry is because Mark Robins likes to play football. He likes to get the ball down and play around and be, play it very much like how Bournemouth played it in the Premier League, coming up that first season and having a go at it in the way that we want to, and the way that, in terms of Coventry, in the way that Coventry want to, and the way that, we like to see the game played as Bournemouth fans and as Coventry fans. So that generally suits us. And obviously, earlier on this season, it also really suited us up until the point we went down to 10 men. We dominated that game while it was 11 versus 11. So I think we should be looking at this as a great opportunity as Bournemouth fans, yes, and as something that was mentioned, that Coventry generally seem not to have gone on 3 games and a win. I don't think you've done that at all this season.
No, I don't. We haven't. I think the last time we did it was when we were in League Two, so you're going back 5 years.
Yeah, that's going to be a good omen for us.
I'm taking it 100%.
Exactly. That's going to be a good omen for us. But then again, we know what football's like. That just means it's inevitable that they'll definitely beat us. So, so it's just one of those things. We'll certainly be trying to take any positive we can get going into this game. But there is definitely a reason to say that Coventry are a football playing team that are of not as high a standard, with all due respect, as the likes of Middlesbrough and your Sheffield United, and that's just because of budget. But that's not for lack of trying. And obviously, there are some very good players that you do need to keep an eye on.
Well, you mentioned budget there, John, and it's a very valid point. Any Cov fan will tell you how much we're punching above our weight. We've signed 3 players for a fee in the last 2 years. Sorry, 4. I forgot about the one in January, and that's ridiculous. You guys did that in 1 day. I think that's the sort of comparison we've got to look at here. Yeah, we've got a bigger stadium and we probably get higher attendance and that sort of stuff. But if we're looking at pure budgets, and if you're going to compare the 2 sides today, it's definitely David versus Goliath, 100%.
Okay, Neil, tell us about some of the players for you that we need to be aware of. I've had a look at your squad. It is a very good squad on paper. Your top goal scorer's got 15 goals. You've scored 58 goals as a team. You've got the likes of Callum O'Hare, who I really like, 7 assists. Matt Godden's a striker that's always dangerous, although I haven't seen him recently in your lineups. So tell us about some of the players then that might be on that pitch today.
Yeah, you mentioned Godden. Godden's out for the season, which is gutting for us. He was in a run of form, scoring goals for fun. I feel for Matt. He's had 3 bad injuries this year. He was banging form turn of the year, got a burst appendix, out for 6 weeks, comes back, scores a few. He's now, I think it's a hamstring or a groin tear, which has seen him out for the season, which is gutting because he really is, a great player. But you've got the sides up there on the screen. Simon Moore, the keeper, arguably a man of the match at Fulham. He's been a phenomenal signing for us. Marshall's the back 3 really well. Hyam was our skipper last time out. Got a head injury, so I don't know if he'll play today. But fantastic centre half. Michael Rose has got 2 goals in his last 2 games from centre half. So again, we play that 3 at the back. McFadden will probably come back in today, which will really shore up that back. And our wing backs really give us intent. Matson's on loan from Chelsea. He's been brilliant for us. Dabo as well on the right side if he plays. If not, it'll be Toddy Kane, so watch out for his crosses. But the danger men will come through the spine. So Victor Gyökeres is the main man, our big Swede up front. 15 goals this season. Against Fulham, I think Ream and Toshin were just happy to see the back of him. because he gave them nightmares. He was unreal that day, unplayable. Callum O'Hare is coming into a run of form. Before Christmas, hadn't really scored. Again, he's got a couple. He's got 2 in his last 2 as well. Tricky little player, very similar to Todd Cantwell. Most foul. I think he's been fouled 100 times this season. So he shows the sort of way he plays. And then you've got the other midfield 3 that will play. I think we'll go with the 4 in midfield today, and that will be Ben Sheaf, who scored 2 last time out. Not known for his goals, but breaks up play really well. Jamie Allen, who's just a little rat and doesn't stop running, and will close down the likes of Cantwell, Cook, whoever's in the middle of the park for you guys, just to not really give them a chance. Horrible to play against. And then Gus Hamer, our Brazilian magician, who is capable of things that I haven't seen a player do in a Coventry shirt for over a decade.
Hard working. When you talk about hard working, John, I said that Coventry have scored 58 goals this season. Interestingly, they've scored 31 at home, but only 6 in the first half. And a game that comes to my mind is a second half against Fulham, where they absolutely blew them away on Sky Sports. Is that sort of stat worrying you when we can't even score 1 goal?
Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter when they score their goals if we don't. So yeah, there is. I think we've brought up things like that before on our previews in terms of when opposition fans score goals, or opposition teams score goals, and it's certainly a pattern that most teams that you bring that up against is that they score in the second half. Because the thing that I think we're most worried about as fans is the fact that as a team we don't really seem to get going very quickly anymore at all. And the thing is, I remember against Luton and QPR early on in the season, we had a very poor sort of first 10 minutes before nicking a goal out of nowhere, and then being on top of them for 20 minutes, scoring a second, and then just not performing for the other hour of the game and just defending a 2-0 and then 2-1 lead for those games. The entire season, we've never really started quickly, apart from once or twice. I think we've scored 3 goals all season in the first 10 minutes. It's roughly that. It's 3 or 4. It's not a lot for a team that scored quite a lot of goals. And when we don't score very often in the first half, we allow our opposition to get into the game in the second half. We've been talking about this for months, that we'd like to see a fast start. And Cherries supporters, one of the things that they'll say on a preview or a free-for-all or whatever is often like, we'll get at them quickly and then, we'll do this. And we never do. The team just doesn't get going fast at all. So I do wonder sort of what the plan is sometimes in the early stages of games when, the progression isn't necessarily there. And without a good start, the team just don't seem to necessarily generate their own momentum very often. I'd love them to just get going quickly in this game and mean that even if Coventry score in the second half, it won't make a difference. But, we've got to be on our game regardless. And it doesn't matter, how bad we are or how good we are. Coventry are very capable of scoring against us. They've got 7 in the last 2. Any team can go a few games without a goal, but Coventry are on good form at the moment, and we've got to look out for them.
Foster is on his way to the game. He's confident of a result today. He reckons the Cherries will get back to winning ways. He's gone with his score prediction of 2-1. We're going to get your score prediction in the chat near the end of the show, but he's on his way to Coventry City. He's going to get behind the lads. We've also got Aaron. He's a Cherries Red Army contributor. He's joining us from sunny Portugal, and he'll be watching from the hotel, hopefully to a Cherries win. Right, Neil, it's great to have you on this match preview. It's always interesting to get an opposition view. It enlightens me a little bit in where you're at, although you look like you're in a very good place at the moment. Are you going to the game? Obviously.
I am, yes. It's season to get hold of. I've only missed 2 games this year, and they were both to illness. So, meeting the guys about midday. Nice sunny day up here in Costa del Cov at the minute. So, I can't wait. I really can't wait. I've said it, a couple of times. Should be a really good game of football. Hopefully.
We need a score prediction out of you, though, Neil, and hopefully we'll have a look at that match day vlog that will drop on YouTube, the Sky Blue View. What's your score prediction today?
So, before I checked the stats, I was going to go for a Desmond. I thought it would be a 2-2 draw. But you guys are making me think it's going to be 0-0. Now, look, I think it's going to be a score draw. I'll stick with 2-2. You guys have got to get that monkey off your back of scoring or getting a shot on target, which I think you will give. But our form at home, and the bumper crowd, I think will kind of help us. We've got 12 goals in 90-plus minutes. So one thing I will say is don't leave early, Cherries fans, because you might just miss the excitement. But either way, like I say, I think it's going to be a brilliant Callum Wilson derby, as we like to call it. And hopefully we get the points, and it just delays the inevitable of the Cherries going up, because I think after the season you guys have had, you deserve to go up 100%.
Callum Wilson derby, absolutely love it. And you're absolutely right. Do you know what? I got that stat, Neil. 6 goals in the 90th minute after normal 90th minute. You've got a 96, a 98, a 98, a 99. Do not leave this game early. Well, hopefully it'll be a Bournemouth 98-minute winner, not a Coventry. But Neil, it's been great to have you on. Enjoy the game, and we'll catch up with you soon. Good luck for the rest of the season after today, but thank you very much.
Really appreciate it, guys. Thanks very much for having me.
No worries. Stay where you are for the moment, Neil. We're going to continue with this match preview, though, because we got to take a look at Scott Parker's predicted 11. He made changes on Friday. Didn't completely work. What will he do today? And, of course, we want your score predictions. Please hit the like button and subscribe to Cherries Red Army. Thank you to Neil there. He expects a good game of football. We want a good game of football, don't we, John? And we're going to go into that predicted 11 very, very soon. But I just want to go back to Friday where there were changes. We expected Adam Smith to go to left back, but I expected Jack Stacey to come in at right back, but Ethan Laird was given his chance. And then obviously Todd Cantwell was pushed over to the left, which, yes, I did say is a position that Todd Cantwell could play. It's not the position I want him to play, by the way, just to get that clear. I want him in the central midfield, but I understand we can't play Lerma, Billing, Lewis Cook, etc. But if you're going to play Todd Cantwell out there, you're probably going to need a natural left back to overlap and provide a little bit of space for Todd Cantwell to work, or maybe for something for him to feed through. But after that game, John, I came out of that a little bit deflated, as you do after 3 games of not scoring. But I then started to feel sorry for the likes of Gary Cahill, Chris Mepham, Jack Stacey. And I don't want to feel like that. But is that the result of doing what we did in January and potentially having a problem on our hands because certain players not even going to make the squad?
Well, I brought up both of those, obviously, in the preview for Friday's game in Mepham and Cahill. And I certainly think there was a very strong argument to say that Cahill would be the better choice at centre-back alongside Kelly in a very tough run-in where you need that kind of leadership that I don't think is necessarily being provided by anyone apart from maybe Adam Smith in the back 4. Having said that, that is 2 clean sheets in a row against some 2 very strong teams in Sheffield United and Middlesbrough. So there's no dire need to change the back 4 at this moment. I think you brought up a point which I think I mentioned in our group chat that Todd Cantwell playing on the left is fantastic, and I think the way that he drifted all the way across to the right hand side of the pitch quite often was great to see him get involved more, because I think Parker has put too many shackles on his wingers at times. Whereas Cantwell, I think, is someone you want more central. You want him to be far more involved in the game. But in exchange for that, you desperately need an attacking left back that is coming in on his left-hand side that will overlap and fill in that acre of space that Todd Cantwell has left. And when the ball's over on that right-hand side, the switch always needs to be on. And we never did it because Adam Smith isn't going to push up like that. And he's also not going to be able to get it in and cross with his left foot with any kind of regularity. nor is he going to want to. We know he always cuts back on that right foot to pass it in field. So I think that was a really odd decision to not play Leif Davis in that left back role when you're going to play Todd Cantwell at left wing, which I don't think there was an issue with. And I thought he was decent. I thought the odd thing was that he was taken off after an hour, despite the fact that Billing looked like he couldn't run 5 meters after 50 minutes, which just baffled me that he was still on the pitch for 85 minutes. He did two sprints in the space of like the first 15 minutes of the second half, and I didn't see him at all. So yeah, it's things like that that just make me want to just shake someone and just go change it. If it's not working the way that you clearly want it to, you need to get something different out of this group of players. And if some people aren't performing, they need to be dropped, because what does that say to the people that are sat on the bench or even that don't even make the squad? I think with 5 to 10 minutes to go, or whenever it was that Phil Billing was taken off, I thought that was perfect position for the likes of Marcondes to come on. But he's not even on the bench, because he's someone that has come on late in games and has had significant impacts when you think back to Stoke and Blackpool. So when you have so many undroppable players, so many favourites, I do think that has an impact on the squad. I think that does have an impact on the squad. When you look at the likes of Billy not performing, when you look at, admittedly, there's no one really to replace Christie, but he's been okay, but he hasn't been great for long periods of the season. Adam Smith, even though he made a few mistakes against West Brom and has done since coming back, obviously he's maybe not fully match fit. When you just see other players on the pitch and you're not going to get any game time, I'm sure that does have some small impact on your mentality when you're training and in the build up to matches. So yeah, I think Parker does have a lot of work to do to try and galvanise this squad.
Definitely, because there's lots of interesting stuff in the chat. I see lots on Twitter. You think when that predicted 11 was so rigid and we didn't even really need to do it in previews. And now you've got the likes of fans saying, I would go with Dembele. Some would say Anthony. Some are saying play Cantwell, don't play Billing. Now Jamal Lowe potentially deserves his chance. And I'm looking today, potentially, look, it's on a knife edge, of course it is, because if we lose today and Forest win at West Brom and then they potentially take on Peterborough, then Forest are coming very soon to Dean Court. Obviously, you don't want to lose the game, but I'm just wondering, John, whether we can just simplify the game today, have a little bit of attacking threat. I like Dembele. I'm not sure he knows what he's going to do in the 20 seconds he has the ball, but he has speed, he has pace. Can we just hurt Coventry today, potentially?
I mean, you'd like to think so. As I was mentioning in talking with when Neil was still on, the fact that we played really well against Coventry in 250, 60 minutes or whatever it was, the entirety of last season and the first hour of this season, because Coventry are a team that essentially want to play the same way Bournemouth do, but we've got the better players. And which is very similar to how it was when we were going up against the likes of Man City and Liverpool in the Prem. We want to play that style of football, but they've just got better players, and we we never got anything off Man City in 5 years. So, I think there should be, there is a very strong case. We just play our regular game and we perform to any kind of decent level that we've put up at points this season, at certain stages this season, we should get a victory against Coventry. I was before this period of Easter games, what I thought would be the case was hard fought draw against Middlesbrough at home, go to Coventry and win. That's what I was predicting. But with when people were saying, oh, it's at home, we should beat Middlesbrough, I didn't think it was going to be that simple based on their team, based on their manager. Whereas Coventry, I was far more confident that we would go there and win because of our recent history against Coventry in the space of 2.5 matches. Whereas because we are in such poor attacking form at the moment, I'm now not quite so confident in that. And I certainly want to see the players like Billing, players like Christie and Solanke, obviously, just find just find that spot that you were in earlier in the season, whatever it was that you needed to do, just to get that bit of confidence back, start getting those shots on target, start just working the keeper, because that's the first part of trying to get a goal, is actually working the keeper. And yeah, Coventry is one of the best teams that we could be playing, even if they're in good form, based on the two styles of play and our history with them. But, you know, there's saying that, and then there's actually doing it.
Definitely. Right. It's that time of the preview where we're going to need your help in the chat, because we've got to try and predict what Scott Parker's going to do at 2 p.m. It's that predicted 11 time. And on the screen, and this may change, but I put a few players in there already. Mark Travers, 16 clean sheets, I think it is this season. He's in there with potentially Kelly and Phillips at centre-back, Lewis Cook in the holding role, Ryan Christie off the right, and Solanke up top. We'll just put them in for the moment. Now, in the chat, we want to know who you'd play in that back four. We don't expect Parker to roll the dice to a back three or anything like that at this stage. So let's just stick with a back four. So we want to know who you think Scott Parker will pick today for a back four. So are we expecting Phillips and Lloyd Kelly to stay, even though I have discussed that Cahill has had his time out now, maybe to get refreshed, and Chris Mepham's probably down the pecking order?
Yeah, I'd say unfortunately so. And yeah, there's certainly, like I said, I would have no issues with Gary Cahill coming into this match, particularly when you've got, as was pointed out by Neil, you've got a player a bit to Gyökeres who has had his poor bouts of form during the season, but at the moment is playing well and is tormenting Fulham centre-backs who, you know, are obviously good enough to be playing for the champions elect, and making it incredibly difficult for them. I think Nat Phillips, to be fair, has experience in big games with big players in Europe with Liverpool, but it's not quite the same at times. And Cahill's experience could work out well. Having said that, I fully expect him to stick with Kelly and Phillips. And the interesting thing is the fullbacks now.
It definitely is. So Smith played left back. We know he can play there. I don't think I've ever enjoyed seeing Smith play left back. Do we expect then, John, to have a natural left footer on that side? And if we do, it's either going to be Leif Davis. Now, I'm convinced now, John, that potentially if Leif Davis doesn't play today, it says something in the transfer contract that was agreed, that if he plays too many games, don't really know. But I'm just not quite understanding why he wasn't put in the team today or Friday. Or it's Robbie Brady. My only concern with Robbie Brady is, has he got the engine to get up and down? He hasn't got the match fitness, you'd think, but he's not obviously going to be a young Leif Davis. Are you expecting a natural left footer today at left back?
No, I'm still expecting Adam Smith, because that's Parker. He will get Adam Smith in there any way he can, because that's one of his favourites. And to be fair to Parker, Adam Smith is, you know, the kind of professional I think any manager wants in their team, particularly in their back line, because he does get forward, but he is also experienced, and he is the biggest diver that we've got in our team as well, with the amount of fouls that he wins from absolutely nothing, being a gust of wind hitting him in the back. So he wins you a lot of free kicks as well, further up the pitch, and obviously when you're defending under pressure. So, you know, there's a number of reasons why you have Adam Smith. You know, personally, if I'm going to play him, it has to be a right back, because we've got good options at left back in Brady. I think I prefer Davis because of his youth and his energy, and you know, he's shown he can perform for the team. Admittedly, Brady has shown it at a higher level, but he's getting on now, and I worry about his body holding up to 90 minutes of Championship football. On the right, I probably would see him sticking with Laird. I don't see any reason why he would drop him. I think Laird was a bit cautious. I think he definitely could have got up quicker and more often. But having said that, you could see his pace, and you could see when he did make overlaps, it was causing Middlesbrough problems, which was annoying for me, that we stopped playing balls over the top far too early in that Middlesbrough game, because it was causing them all kinds of issues in the first half. But Laird still hasn't quite shown what he can do, without a doubt. And I think if he does, I think today is a good chance for him to do that. we could really see him at least produce an assist for us today with his runs forward, if not just create plenty of chances for an underperforming attack.
Yeah, I can see that back four as well. I'd like to see a natural left footer. If it was going to be Smith on the left, I'd actually like to see Jack Stacey back in the team. I thought Laird did okay the other day. I didn't think he was as good as Scott Parker said in his post-match interview, but he did nothing wrong, and he was better in the second half. But I can definitely see that back four. Let's move up then to that middle three. So who do you think in the chat will be the middle three today? We expect Lewis Cook to start, don't we, John?
Yeah, I would certainly expect so, but I personally would actually like to see a Billing Cantwell partnership today. I think is very much capable that we could play that, and I would like to see that happen. But if that was played, I have a feeling Parker would go with Lerma instead of Cook, because I feel as though Cook is far more suited to that position in the way that Parker wants to play. But Lerma is one of his generals that he won't drop. Mm-hmm. There's no way he's dropping Lerma. So I would say he will probably go with. I think he'll go with Cook and Lerma, but I'm not sure whether it be Billing and Cantwell he'll play with. I would like to see Billing and Cantwell up in the 2-8s with the Cook in the 4, but we're talking about what we think Parker is going to do, and I think he'll certainly keep Cook and Lerma. It's just whether he plays Billing or Cantwell. I'd be interested to hear what the chat thinks about that. I would prefer Cantwell to give Billing a rest. I think he desperately needs it, but will Parker see it like that? I hope he does, because he desperately needs to be given a rest.
I very much agree with the chat as well. I think I would like to see Cook, Lerma and Cantwell, but I do think it'll be Cook, Lerma and Billing. I don't see Scott Parker changing it, even though Billing does look flat at times recently. I don't think Billing scored since January. His last assist was against Huddersfield, so it's not like he's picking up the numbers at the moment. But he's in that list of players that I think plays if he's not injured. And I expect that to be the midfield three. So in there for Cook, Lerma and Billing. And we move up now to the forward three. We expect Ryan Christie off the right. Christie, I think, had something silly like 68 shots at goal this season, 4% conversion, 7 assists, 3 goals, 33 matches. I'm not sure that's good enough. He was very, very good at the start of the season, very clinical with the assists. He needs to do a little bit more, although he showed a lot of effort the other day. Expect Ryan Christie, though, off the right. Dom Solanke, is he becoming tired? He didn't really get any chances against Middlesbrough. And then it's off the left, John. We expect then, I assume, Dembele or Anthony. But Lowe came off the bench and played up top. Who do you think will play from that side?
Well, that's the thing. Lowe came off the bench, played up top. He played in the position that I think we have spoken about before, Kirk, whether it be on camera or off camera, that Lowe's best position is as a second attacker off the bench. That is his best position, which is frustrating for him. But he's not quite. He's definitely not a right winger. He's never been a right winger in his career, and he suddenly started for us in right wing. That's just not his spot. He can play off the left. I just don't think he's been that effective for us off the left, which means that really, as a front two, where he did for Swansea last season, is probably his best position with us, but we don't play two up top. So he's best suited to coming off the bench and providing an extra boost. And I thought he performed quite well coming off the bench in a front two, and gave us a little bit more spark against Middlesbrough, and was able to press high that Solanke wasn't able to. The difficulty with that is that Solanke basically disappeared once Lowe came on. Yes, he wasn't very present before that in the second half either. I do think the season is taking its toll on him significantly. But I don't see Lowe starting off the left. And it will be Dembele or Anthony. I would say that given that Dembele played in the last game and was okay, but wasn't outstanding by any means, I would imagine it'll be Anthony that will come back in. I think Parker has switched that position out relatively regularly over the last month. And I think with game time and what he expects from those two players, with the games coming thick and fast and what he expects from those two players, I think he wants to keep those alternating to make sure they're rested enough. Whether that's any good for form is another thing entirely. But I would say Anthony will probably start this game because it'll be another swap. And hey, Anthony, got a goal and assist in this fixture earlier in the season. And we'd be hoping you do something again for us like that today.
But Dembele has had good form before he signed for Bournemouth, even against Coventry, and maybe he can find that form for the Cherries. And I think it is Dembele or Anthony, but I'll let Jon take this one with Anthony. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Anthony because Dembele did start the last time, and I think he's probably going to alternate it. So that is our predicted 11 for this match preview this afternoon. We will obviously find out how close that is at 2 p.m. If you weren't able to join us live and you caught this before the game, let us know your thoughts in the comments. But we are locking that in on this match preview. Stay with us. We need those score predictions. It's less than 5 hours until a big off. And just like on Friday, it's another busy day in the Championship for the rest of the teams as well. Early kickoff this afternoon is Middlesbrough taking on Huddersfield. Barnsley take on Peterborough. Blackburn at home to Stoke. Blackpool take on Birmingham. Cardiff City versus Luton. Luton got a great result on Friday. Coventry City against Bournemouth. Millwall against Hull City. QPR take on Derby. Reading versus Swansea. Bristol City at 5:30 against Sheffield United. And then, if we've got the job done at 3 o'clock, Nottingham Forest take on West Brom at home. Could be a big day in the Championship again, Jon.
Yeah, massive. I think like Friday, we'll be West Brom fans at 8 o'clock. And if we've managed to do the job, there'll be a 10-point gap between us and them by that point, assuming, obviously, big caveat, we've done the job. So there's that. And just out of interest as well, I think QPR versus Derby is one I'll be keeping an eye on as well. I think Derby with nine points away from safety with 12 available points they are somehow hanging in there just after winning against Fulham on Friday. But plenty still going on in the relegation scrap. Middlesbrough versus Huddersfield is a big game. Huddersfield need to keep their form going, but they look like they'll probably be okay in the playoffs. And Middlesbrough fighting out with Sheffield United to stay in those playoffs. So, almost every game at this point of the season is big, apart from those that have already hit the beach. But still plenty going on.
And we need your score predictions in the chat then. Thanks for joining us this morning. It's been great to do a preview on game day. Almost gets us prepared. I'm feeling confident, weirdly. I just would like the goals to go in today, if not for the fans that have travelled up there, but just to know that we can hit the back of the net again. So put your score predictions in the chat and we'll have a look at them in the moment. I'll give mine, and I'm sure Jon give his as well. But we've spoken to Neil. We've had a look at Coventry, and we just want to do well today, don't we, Jon? We just want to show that we've got something about us between now and the end of the season. Because I did say the other day, I said, look, it was so exciting back in 2014-15 when we went up, and this does feel very different. I'm going to absolutely go mad if we do it, but it just feels the most sluggish promotion push that I've ever known, and I don't know if the Championship has ever seen.
Yeah, I think at the start of this season there was a case of amongst a lot of the sort of Championship and football podcasts I listened to say that this was arguably one of the weakest Championship seasons there's been. Well, that was either last season or this season. Either way, I think both. You can put an argument for both, and I think there's a strong case for that, with Fulham obviously running away with it. But if you look at the amount of times that they've messed up as well and lost points where they really shouldn't have done, and Bournemouth for us, you can look at the amount of games that we've managed to either only take a point from or lose entirely that we shouldn't have done, we could have been right up there with Fulham quite comfortably, and with the ability of our squad, we certainly should be. But there's been a lot of teams that have vastly outperformed this season. Coventry being one of them, are far higher than most would have predicted. Huddersfield, I mean, we predicted them to finish 23rd, and they're currently third in the table. So it's been a mad season as well. But yeah, I think the standard has been even lower than normal, and the fact that we've been managed to crawl our way forward. If we hadn't had that 15-game unbeaten win the streak at the start, we'd be absolutely nowhere near. That we'd be an upper mid-table side based on the second half of the season, and I think that says a lot about the manager. So yeah, we're going into this with maybe false hope, but to be honest, we just want to see a goal. I think we just want to see a goal. It's been too long.
The chat may have frozen a little bit, but try and put your score prediction in there if you can. So apologies if the chat slowed up a little bit, but put your score prediction in there. I'm going to show it in just a moment, and I'm going to give mine. So I'm going to hopefully listen to a good Bournemouth performance. I'm going to have some egg this afternoon as well whilst I'm doing it. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 1-1 draw. I think if we're gonna win this match, John, we're going to need to score at least 2 goals. I expect Coventry to score in this game. I'd like to see us win. I don't think we will win. I think it'll be 1-1. Where are you at?
Yeah, I've been struggling for a score prediction for this because, obviously with the way I've been talking about how we performed against Coventry over the last season and a half, like a 3-1 win wouldn't surprise me if we suddenly turned it on. But there's no way I'm predicting that because it definitely won't happen. So I did get the draw right against Middlesbrough, to be fair. But I think I'm going to go for another draw. I think I'm going to match you, Kirk. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I just do not have the confidence in this team at the moment to say that we're going to go to a place that, despite how well Coventry have done this season, this is a team that we should do well against. And without the form going into this game, I don't have any confidence in that. So I'm hedging my bets on that we score a goal at all, and I'm hoping for a 1-1 draw, or hopefully better.
But we want to be proved wrong. And Robert's going for a boring 2-1 win, get the points on the board. Ron's going for a 2-1 or a 3-1. You're not predicting a high score win for the Cherries, John, but Chris is. He's going for a 4-1. Anthony, Dom, Christie and Lewis. Kirk Dembele, maybe with a late rocket. Cameron's going for 3-1. And Wayne, the Fulham fan, is also wishing Bournemouth good luck against Coventry. Appreciate your support on the channel. And James is going for 2-1 to Bournemouth. Appreciate you putting your score prediction in there. So even though we haven't scored in 270 minutes, we've only registered 3 shots on target. Maybe today it all changes. And we haven't lost to Coventry in the last 3. 1 draw, 2 wins. We've got to take everything we can. But John, it's been great to prepare for the game today. Something a little bit different. Looks like the weather's up in Coventry, and it also a good atmosphere, a packed arena, apparently.
Yes, from what Neil was saying beforehand, before we came on camera. From the sounds of things, they've sold out their home end, and I think we're taking a sizable portion up to the Midlands as well. So wishing all the best to all those travelling fans, safe journey, and fingers crossed that they can take 3 points and the weather with them. Excellent.
Safe journeys. You're probably halfway there if you go into the game. If you're watching the Cherries, wherever you are around the world, let's try and enjoy it if we can. Please hit the like button. Don't know how many likes we've hit this morning, but if you can hit the like button before this video ends, we'll much appreciate it. And subscribe to Cherries Red Army because we are so close to 900 subscribers, only 7 away. So please hit the subscribe button, much appreciated. We also need to thank our channel supporter members. As always, Thank you to Mike, Mark, Rich, Richard, Sammy, Steve, Paul, Neil, Aaron, Morgan, Roy, and Mike Wood. Still need to upload that image. Mike Wood is also a channel supporter member, so thank you to Mike. Saw him on Friday. Really great talking to you. You can become a channel supporter member by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Cherries Red Army, or you can make a one-off donation. Really helps the channel. The link is in the description. Thanks, John.
No problem. Thanks for having me on again.
And also thank you to everyone who's joined us this morning. Really appreciate that. The Cherries, they're on the road. They're looking for a shot on target. They're looking for a goal. You never know. We could blow Coventry away this afternoon. What we need to do is just have more about us, give something for the fans to cheer about. Let's see if we can get those 3 points. Make sure you check out the channel for more content, because we'll drop as much as possible between now and the end of the season. But enjoy your day. Let's go the Cherries. From me and John and Neil from earlier on. We'll see you on the next video. Up the Cherries.